some facilities here in Western Washington are nearly at capacity as COVID-19 skyrockets.
And for more than 200 businesses, they have already had to close their doors for good.
Some school districts are going remote before the required date. The changes are forcing many parents to scramble.
Well, according to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the U.S. is going to lose more than 9 million jobs this year due to the coronavirus pandemic and the travel restrictions that are associated with it.
And there are now more than 170,300 cases statewide, up more than 3,300 in the last 24 hours.
COVID-19 has affected nearly every aspect of our lives: our jobs, schools, recreational activities, sports, and most importantly, our health. Whether working or at school, most of our time is spent at home. There is one aspect not mentioned here that COVID-19 has impacted, though. It's what we wanted to showcase through this documentary: our cultures. I set up a Zoom call with the rest of the ASA officers to talk about what really led us to creating this documentary.
Hi everyone! So let's talk a little bit about what led us to making this documentary.
Well, ASA normally had a large school event with performances and food catering from local restaurants, but we knew we couldn't do that this year because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and this was one of the biggest events that ASA held inside Franklin.
I think one of the reasons why we wanted to do something for the Lunar New Year is in the first place is because this event has brought a lot of different student families and cultures together at Franklin.
And it's super important to continue to celebrate the Lunar New Year now because it is a special tradition in a lot of cultures.
We also thought about how it's the first time we've lived through a pandemic like this, and we realized it is important to document how people are continuing to celebrate these events while dealing with the pandemic at the same time.
Yeah, not only that, but we also wanted to bring our Franklin community together.
This documentary, we hope to show how different Asian cultures celebrate Lunar New Year and how it has changed because of COVID-19.
We are living in an unprecedented time, and it's important to document that.
For us, the Asian Student Association at Franklin, we needed to find a way to move our annual Lunar New Year celebration online. We hope that this documentary shines a light on various cultures and helps us come together during these tough times.
Lunar New Year, or also known as Spring Festival or Chinese New Year, celebrates the beginning of a new year on the traditional lunar solar Chinese calendar.
The Lunar New Year is one of the most important holidays in China and of China's neighboring cultures like the Korean New Year and Tet in Vietnam.
It is also celebrated worldwide in regions and countries that have significant overseas Chinese or Chinese-speaking populations, including Taiwan, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, the Philippines, and Mauritius, as well as in North America and Europe.
You may have heard people call this year the year of the ox, and you might be wondering what it means. So the Chinese zodiac follows 12 zodiac signs, which is the rat, ox, tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and pig. So each animal has their own personality traits as well.
Since the Lunar New Year marks the beginning of a new year, it also signifies a new beginning, an end to the old, and a chance for a fresh start.
Even though many Asian cultures celebrate the same New Year and have similar values, each one of these cultures have different traditions and ways of celebrating. Franklin is a diverse school of various cultures and traditions, so we gathered a few students to talk about their unique Lunar New Year celebrations and how their lives have changed because of the pandemic.
Can you tell us what Lunar New Year looks like in your culture before COVID?
I'm half Korean, half Chinese. One hand, I have to celebrate some Korean and some Chinese. So, for example, we eat tteokguk for Korean, for my Korean side, because tteokguk is what you traditionally eat during the New Year's. Mostly, we eat all the Chinese dishes that you traditionally eat during the New Year's. Or I used to do the hanbok tradition, but I don't have a hanbok anymore, so we sort of moved away from that.
Well, before COVID, people would like get in big parties. There'll be like a lot of music and dancing and making red lucky eggs. First, they like get like a dozen chicken eggs or like however many. They boil it, and then after it's boiled, they make this like red dye from like, I think it's like flowers. Like they make their own red dye. And then they dye it until it's like a really bright red or like even like a magenta color. And then after they like do like a macrame kind of thing on the egg, like and you hang it. On New Year's Day, you would wear it around your neck for good luck, and then after New Year's Day, you would hang it up in like your house because it would like symbolize like good luck in your house. And if it breaks, then it means it's bad luck. That's why it's like important to like keep it good. There's like also like red bracelets given to everybody that's like supposed to symbolize good luck.
We would prepare food and also sometimes wear like ao dai. It's like a Vietnamese dress for the New Year.
And what kinds of foods would you eat?
Like noodles, like shrimp, like other stuff, and rice. Fried rice.
Dumplings, rice, and chow mein.
Samosas, a lot of desserts, a lot of rice.
I'm Lao and Chinese. For Lunar New Year, we celebrate it like more on my Chinese side. But then in April, there's Lao New Year as well. That's a little more different. But I would say for both New Years that I celebrate, we offer like good luck to elders. We would give like a blessing to our grandparents and stuff.
Going to my aunts and uncle's house and seeing my grandmother and cousins on my mom's side, and then going to my dad's side to my grandma's house, and then eating more Chinese food and seeing my uncles and cousins.
We celebrate first day of Boishak. Boishak is kind of the first month of the year. In the Bengali calendar, we usually like get up early in the morning and pray to our God. We start the day with the light dessert such as paesh. It's made of milk and sugar, and it's really tasty.
I don't celebrate Lunar New Year. So before, my family would celebrate Bangladeshi New Year, which is in April. And so usually me and my family, we would have like a little small celebration at home with like food and everything. Like later on in the day, we would all go to some rec center with a bunch of other Bangladeshi Americans in the community and just have this little festival.
Get a huge rally. It was used to near in the Dhaka first city, and they like host everything for it. It was one of the biggest university in my country.
We would play like these gambling Vietnamese games, like this like Vietnamese bingo. This one game where you bet on like an animal. If the dice rolled on it, we would gamble money and stuff.
Is it called Boko Kakap?
Yeah.
In Vietnamese, we celebrate in 3 days. Right? First, second, and third. Students don't have school on those 3 days. Oh, and then we used to have like those firecracker. And then Chinese government, they ban it. And then Vietnamese government, they follow suit. And they ban it too. We used to feel like have the atmosphere of Lunar New Year when you hear the firecracker and stuff, but we don't have it anymore. So it's just like the 4th of July in here. You still see it in here, right? In Seattle. When they open like the first day of the Lunar New Year, they have a firecracker and kind of stuff.
What makes you excited for Lunar New Year?
The money.
Pocket money. You don't get money for the new year, but you do get money for Eid.
Sometimes, if you're lucky, you might get money. Just like Lunar New Year, depending, like you get money in red envelopes. Sometimes you might just like meet like an old relative out of nowhere, and they'll just be like, "Here's $20."
I'm gonna be honest, the money, that's all I'm about.
Receiving money.
You get red envelopes. Like that's like pretty fun.
Those kids got a lot of money.
What makes me excited is that traditionally it's about new beginnings or like a new start. So I'm happy that it's a new start for me and hopefully make this year a lot better and grow from it. Lunar New Year is when a lot of like the family gets to come together. I have like a pretty big family, so it's really fun to have them all come together from all around the country.
I'm just excited because I get to see like all my cousins and spend time with my family. As I got older, I can like talk to the adults more and then also talk to my younger cousins and stuff. I'm starting to learn how to cook more. So like maybe in like future Lunar New Year's I can try making those dishes. Pretty complicated looking, but
Seeing my family, relatives, and talking to them and having a good time.
People all over the country celebrate it and they like enjoy it. So I think it's a great way to celebrate for all kind of people.
Not really excited, especially this year. It happened to be like on the snow day. And then I stay home, and then a lot of like a nostalgia. I'm not in Vietnam, and then we kind of feeling nostalgic a lot because I'm listening to the Vietnamese song that made special for the Lunar New Year occasion. It's so like an old time song. It's just for this time, the period of time. It's kind of the mixed feeling between happiness, hoping for the best, and also feel kind of homesick.
How has COVID impacted your family during Lunar New Year?
Well, we're definitely not going to be going anywhere. And since we don't have much family here at all, it kind of sucks that we won't even get to see them either. I just found out like one of my cousins got COVID a couple weeks ago. So we're definitely not seeing them this year, which kind of sucks.
Last year, we were planning to go to Vietnam, but we couldn't really because of COVID, so we had to cancel that.
Was like the trip to Vietnam was not to visit your family?
Yeah.
We haven't been able to see like our extended family really a lot, like because usually my family is like really close, and we celebrate like everything together. But then this year it's kind of just been like my siblings and parents, and like sometimes my grandma.
We didn't go over to my mom's side of the family because it's really big and extended. So we just had a Zoom call on the day of Lunar New Year.
I didn't do anything. We didn't have a Lunar New Year.
There's definitely some changes we have to make, like cancel out all kind of like travel. Is it short or long travel? We usually stay in our home for Happy New Year. For the Eid part, we like pray together in outside. But during the COVID, you kind of like go outside because of the COVID spreading going on. So we have to like stay at home the last year or maybe this year.
There's no party this year or going to temple.
Even I come to their house, I still wear mask, and then they wear masks too. To protect each other. You know what I mean? So that's a big difference.
The main thing that impacted our family is just like making sure our house is safe. Like especially my grandparents are like getting really old, so we just want to make sure like they're as safe as possible. But we do know that Lunar New Year is such a like valuable like celebration each year and tradition. And especially since my grandpa is Chinese, we want to make sure that we can still honor his like culture and tradition. It really is like something really like rooted to his like culture.
Another major thing that I've seen is that normally these gatherings are like a chance to like learn the family history and all that, or like the culture. And I've noticed that we're not particularly in my family, but I've noticed some other like neighbors, the younger generation isn't getting a chance to learn and understand the cultural significance of the Lunar New Year that is like a little troubling because you don't want this to disappear, or like we don't want to like change their perception of this holiday.
Next, we kind of just talked about the negatives of COVID. What are the positives that your family has gotten out of COVID? So are there any positives that you personally have experienced or your family?
We got closer, I guess, because most of the time they're working. So we were able to spend more time and talk about things and also like do things together.
I do like a Viber call back to Vietnam on the first day of test to talk to some of my brothers and families, part of families still stay in Vietnam. My relatives and my relative call me. Yeah, that is kind of communication. We still maintain that. And then it looked like we do it more because of, COVID-19.
Appreciating the time when I actually do see my extended family.
I think we kind of value just spending more time together because before we would have school and we would have to have sports and after school stuff, and we would never get to gather together.
What are your hopes or goals for 2021?
I hope I survive the year.
I think my main hope is that like my health and my family's health and my friends' health is like good, like mentally and physically.
I hope that everything is positive and that COVID decreases. And maybe we can go back to school for like a month, hopefully.
I hope that they're going to get vaccination pretty soon. So I hope to see the student in person next year. I really, really want it. So the hope for next year we're going to be together, and then the COVID is going to go away.
I think it's more specific to me and just like my work ethic, but I want to be able to remind myself to take more breaks and like not put on too much work on myself. And then I'm definitely like working on eating healthier and not skipping meals.
Participate more in activities like outside of school and in school, and also do sports and like be active.
Like exercise like a 40-minute a day. Because health is the most important, you know what I mean?
I'm a junior and I've just started applying to colleges soon, and I'm not ready for that.
Hopes and goals. I plan to learn how to drive this year. I feel change. Like, I know change is good, but I'm kind of scared, but I'm ready to take the risks. Take more risks. There you go. That's my goal.
Maturing more, I guess.
Get to know more about the Lunar New Year in the future, like going to ASA club in Franklin. Yeah.
Some of the things I do hope is I just improve greatly in life. Hopefully, fix any mistakes may have done last year, or fix any problems that might come my way. I mean, I do hope that the New Year's will be sticking around in my family for a very long time. I hope that other people don't forget where they come from and don't forget that they too also have traditions and they don't need to discard it just to fit in, especially now with the attacks against our elderly. We don't want people to be scared away from our culture. Just because we're different doesn't mean that we're not, American or human.
As this documentary comes to a close, the ASA officers return together to share our experiences and what we were able to take away from this entire process. Whether it be through our interview experience or coming together to create this documentary, we came to a better understanding of our own cultures and the overall importance of the Lunar New Year.
Hello, my name is Sayla and I am ASA's treasurer. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to interview any students for the documentary, but I did learn a lot from my own experience celebrating Lunar New Year's at home with my family, and I would like to share with you all. I grew to have more appreciation for my family, especially my mother, and in the past years during Lunar New Year season, I wasn't able to help much around the house with the preparations because of school and such. But this year, with COVID-19 keeping us at home, I was able to help out around the house. And since my mother is kind of the head of the house, she basically did everything. And my sister and I got to help out. I also learned more about the stuff we did and why we did them. I really admired her perseverance through it all, and I grew a deeper appreciation for her and my family. So I hope the audience were able to grow a deeper appreciation for their family and their parents during a time where we are closer together. And Lunar New Year's is not only about celebrating our culture and our traditions, but it's also about strengthening the relationships we have with the people we are celebrating with. For example, our family.
Hi, my name is Melinda Yuen, and I'm the ASA president. I was able to be in all of the interviews for this documentary and worked on the editing process. And I think something I definitely was able to learn was about all of the new foods, traditions, and Lunar New Year celebrations from various cultures, at least within our Franklin community. Through my research, when I had to look up photos of the items and of the foods, and when I had to work on turning it into the subtitles for the documentary, I was able to really get a better grasp of what each culture has in common and what each culture has differently. And I definitely think that the new Lunar New Year celebrations that I was able to see through this documentary was super important and insightful for me. So I hope that as you're watching this documentary, you are also able to learn some new food or clothing item or just another word in a different language.
So something new I learned from this whole documentary experience is the Bangladeshi New Year as a whole. So I got to meet with Ria, which is she's a junior this year, and she taught me a lot about the traditions and stuff that she does in Bangladeshi New Year, and it's really similar to like Lunar New Year, like Chinese New Year that I celebrate. So we like come together as like a one big family and celebrate together and eat a lot of good food, just a lots of talking, and then in the end we would get money. And I hope you guys also were able to celebrate with some part of your family this year and were able to get like maybe a little bit of money.
So I had the opportunity of interviewing Kayla for this documentary, and I was able to learn more about the similarities and differences of how she celebrated compared to how I celebrated Lunar New Year. And I thought this was such a great opportunity because it gave me the chance to reflect on my own traditions. And I hope that you guys were also able to learn something new. And I hope you guys were also inspired by all the academic or personal goals all the interviewers had.
From filming this documentary, I learned that even though we weren't able to celebrate our cultures and traditions with our extended families and friends, we were still able to celebrate despite being in these difficult times, whether that be virtual or celebrating with our families at home. I think we all had more time to reflect on who we are and dig into our roots deeper than before. This pandemic taught us more about ourselves, and I think that therefore we all now have a greater understanding of who we truly are. Like through Zoom, we shared out our differences in cultures and traditions and connected together as a Franklin community. I just want to thank everyone for participating and for watching our film until the very end. We really appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys all have a happy Lunar New Year. Chúc mừng năm mới.
Please say Happy Lunar New Year in your language.
Chúc mừng năm mới and Gong Hei Fat Choi.
It's Sabadi Be My. Sabadi means like hello, and then Be My means New Year. So it's like Hello New Year.
Shubha Navabarsha. It's kind of like Shuo means like happy and Nawamoshi means like New Year.
Chúc mừng năm mới.
Mình cần hay phạt trôi, then sang phạt lock.
Chúc mừng năm mới, năm Tân Sửu. So what I'm saying is Happy New Year and then the year of the ox.
How do you say Happy New Year in? Is it a language Bangladeshi?
It's Bangla and
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, you gotta cut that out the video, please. Oh, no.
Honestly, like they call it Poila Boishak, but everyone literally just says Happy New Year. You know, I think it's because of the colonizers, but